Good morning. So today we're going to talk about what's called effective rate of interest. So when you're talking about compound interest, remember that the interest that you earn is based on previous interest amounts. So every compounding period, the amount you either owe or earn goes up. And so if you have compounding periods that are throughout the year, for example, weekly, monthly, etc., then the named rate, the rate that is quoted for your loan or your investment, is not the true rate that you're earning, because that rate is based on 1 year. And clearly, if you're compounding for more than 1 year, you're going to have more interest. Now, it's usually not very much over a short time period, but over time, that can really add up and create a lot more interest. So you have what's called the nominal rate, and this is the named rate. Nominal means name, and this means that this is the one they state in the ad or something. You're going to pay 19.99% on this credit card APR, okay? But because they compound monthly, that's not the true rate that you would be paying, because the effective rate takes into consideration the interest that you already have either earned or been charged. Okay? So this takes into account the previous compounding periods. Where you've already been charged some interest, or in a case of an investment, earned some interest. Okay? A couple of things you should know about the effective rate compared to the nominal rate. The effective rate is always more. Than the nominal rate. And again, the reason for that is because you've already earned some interest, and they're charging you interest on that little amount of interest that you've earned or been charged. Okay? All right. Now, okay. So when you're investing, you want the highest possible effective rate. When you're borrowing, you want the lowest possible effective rate. And when you're compounding annually, then the two rates are always the same. Now, when you're comparing these rates, you're going to be using some information that we've already looked at. Okay? So what we want to do is we want to look at the formula and talk about how to use it. Now, you have to be careful with the formula. You don't have to memorize the formula. It's going to be included in your formulas page. However, the information that's in it, you're going to have to be very careful with when you're entering it in your calculator. A scientific calculator can't do too much at one time. Now, you can enter the full formula in a scientific calculator, but it's generally easier just to hit enter after each piece and work from there. Okay? So I'm going to show you the formula, and then I'm going to show you the easiest way to enter it into your calculator. So here's our formula. I effective, because remember that it's going to be an interest rate, and as an I, that means it's an interest rate as a decimal. I effective is equal to 1 plus I over n, in brackets, raised to the nth power, minus 1. Where I is simply the rate as a decimal. So just convert it to a decimal. And n is the number of compounding periods per year. And remember, we've looked at this. You can have monthly, which means n would be 12. Daily, which would be N would be 365. Fortnightly, N would be 26, etc. Okay? Now, when you're doing this, it's easier to enter your things into your calculator if you'll do it in a series of stages. First, enter the percent and hit equals, and that will change it to a decimal, right? So that gives you your I. Now you could do that. You could just enter the decimal if you want to. It depends, again, on how comfortable you are with that. Second, divide the answer by your N. Third, add 1. Now, each time you do this, make sure you're hitting that equals afterwards, because otherwise you're going to be getting the wrong pieces, and you want to make sure that you're getting the right answer. And that's probably the reason why if you're trying this and you're not getting the right answer. Okay? Raise your answer to the nth power. And we've looked at the keystrokes for that, so you can use your calculator for that. And then finally, and again, after each piece, do equals. Then take your answer, -1, and then hit equals. Now there's one final step, because remember, you're going to get I effective. And I effective is going to be a decimal. But when you're answering a question, interest rates are usually generally talked about as percentages. So change I to a percent. And remember, to do that, just multiply by 100% or move the decimal and add the percent symbol, again, depending on your comfort level. All right? So again, that's all there is to it. The key is to make sure that when you're entering your things in your calculator that you're hitting that equal symbol after each stage so that you can get the correct answer. Again, you can enter the whole thing if you're really good at it, but generally, for most people, you'd prefer to just take it one stage at a time. So you have some homework there to do. It's from 7D. Just do questions 1, 2, 4, and 5. Some of them you're just going to be finding the effective interest rate. Some of them you're going to be finding the effective interest rate for 2 different scenarios and then comparing them. Remember those keys. If you're investing, you want the highest possible rate. If you're borrowing, you want the lowest possible rate. And that will give you the comparisons that you need. All right. Thanks, guys.